As I mentioned in the first video, the ribbon is where you launch most of your commands in Civil 3D. Let's take a look. Let's first talk about how the ribbon is broken down. You'll see across the top that there are a series of tabs. And each one of these tabs contains a bunch of commands that all relate to one another. Now within each tab, you'll see these rectangular sections. These are called panels. And this is a further grouping of commands that more specifically relate to each other. And then within each panel, you'll find a series of menus, which is an even more specific grouping of commands. For example, in this drop-down, we see commands that have to do with creating parcels. And here we see commands that have to do with creating alignments. So that way of grouping your commands together, first in tabs and then panels and then menus, is a way for you to keep the commands organized and make them easier to find. Now, some of the panels need to contain more information than they can show in the panel area. So for those, you'll see this little triangle at the bottom that you can click to expand the panel out further to see additional commands. So let's take a look at some of the tabs that we have. We have the Home tab, which is kind of a collection of all of your most used commands, the ones that you most commonly go to. And it's really a mixed bag of all different kinds of things. Creating design, profile and section views, basic drawing tools, modification tools. As I said, a lot of what you'll need to do in Civil 3D you can actually do from the Home tab. The Insert tab is for bringing information into your Civil 3D drawing. The Annotate tab is for creating labels and tables and things like that. The Modify tab is for making changes to the objects in your drawing. The Analyze tab is for taking the information in your drawing and analyzing it to get more information out of it. On the View menu, we can create viewports and change the way that we look at our Civil 3D information. The Manage tab helps us manage how we share information, how we perform customizations, manage CAD standards, and lots of different aspects of the Civil 3D experience. Output is for sending information out of Civil 3D. The Survey tab contains the survey functionality in Civil 3D, just as we see with Rail containing the Rail functionality. We've got a Transparent tab, which coincides with the transparent commands that we see over here on the toolbar on the right. We have an InfraWorks tab, which allows us to interact and exchange information with InfraWorks, another Autodesk tool. Our Collaborate tab allows us to publish information and to share views. Gives us a lot of different help resources so that we can learn what we need to learn to make a product work for us. The Add-ins tab can be used to house third-party add-ins or Autodesk add-ins that plug into Civil 3D. Express Tools is an AutoCAD tab that contains a bunch of additional tools that enhance the capabilities of AutoCAD. And then finally, we have the Featured Apps tab, which is kind of a window into our App Store. Finally, we've got this little drop-down, which allows us to change how the ribbon looks. We can shrink it up to just the tabs, we can shrink it up to just the panel titles, or we can minimize it to the panel buttons. Now there's one last thing I want to show you that the ribbon does, and it's a very powerful capability. What I'm going to do is click inside of this viewport here on the left and zoom in very closely to this white line. This line happens to be an alignment, a type of object in Civil 3D. I'm going to zoom in nice and close so I can clearly see the area between these tick marks, because I want to carefully select the line between the tick marks. I want to be careful not to pick on the label. If you do, this will become confusing. But I want to click on the line itself, the alignment object, and watch what happens to the ribbon. The ribbon recognizes that I've selected an alignment object, and it brings up a special ribbon tab, a contextual ribbon tab, that gives me alignment commands. So this is an amazingly powerful shortcut to save me time from having to look through the ribbon and find those alignment-related commands. Instead, it serves them up for me, making them easy to access and making my next steps much easier to figure out as I'm working with this specific object type. So that's how the ribbon organizes your commands and even serves them up to you, making the commands easy to locate when you need them.